أحب الله جل علاه ومن حبي له أخشى
Belief in God is
كلها
logical,
لله.
reasonable.
As people become more and more obsessed with materialism,
Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome for a second night of the call 2010. Tonight we have with us Brother Raheem Green, who will take tonight's lecture. Before I hand over the stand to Brother Raheem Green, I have a few announcements to make. One is, tonight we have Q&A after the lecture. I'm told that there will be mics around, one for the gents and one for the ladies. And there are slight changes in the schedule as well. The changes are the lecture there was to be held tomorrow night, which is Quran, is there more to it, has been changed to why do we need a religion? And the lecture on Sunday has been changed to is there more to it? So as it is, I'll let you know how it is. Tomorrow we have in the afternoon, or rather in the evening, from 4 to 6, with Raheem Green, Women's Rights in Islam at Darbarwe, and tomorrow night from 8:30 to 10:30, here at Alimas Carnival, we have Dr. Bilal Phillips on why do we need a religion. And day after tomorrow, evening 4 to 6 at Tajdin School, the topic is Quran, is there more to it? And on Sunday night, the lecture will be here at Alimas Carnival by Brother Raheem Green towards a peaceful society. As I told you earlier, there will be mics for gents as well as for the ladies. And after the lecture, you can ask questions. We'll allow as much time as we can for the question and answer session. And the questions will be allowed only on the topic. So please make sure that you listen to the lecture and then be ready with your questions based on the topic. So it will be open for question and answers based on tonight's lecture, which will be on sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Raheem Green was born in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania to British parents. His father, born in England, who is Gavin Green, was a colonial administrator in the then extant British Empire. At an early age, he moved back to UK with his parents. His mother is originally from Polish origin. Mr. Green researched and practiced many religions, including Buddhism, for 3 years before converting to Islam. His study of Quran immediately attracted him to Islam, leading to his conversion in 1988. He has given dawah in Britain since then. Green worked for 5 years in London Central Mosque and Islamic Cultural Center as the visiting and English dawah coordinator, but now runs a consultancy which is Green and Chambers Consulting with his friend and fellow convert Yusuf Islam. He does make a regular appearances on Peace TV as well as Islam channel. Currently he is working with an Islamic media company based in England and engages himself in dawah activities including lectures on Islam in London's famous Hyde Park. He is well known for his efforts at renowned Speaker Corner in London's Hyde Park. Green has starred many TV shows on Peace TV including Peace Missile. He often travels around the world on lectures and now this has brought him here to Maldives. And Alhamdulillah, I am glad that we have a bigger crowd than last night, and I believe you're going to enjoy his lecture on sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Brother Raheem Green.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. MashaAllah, Allahu Akbar, that's what I love to hear. Brothers and sisters, we're going to be talking today about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Does that sound interesting? Yeah, I think so. Some people may be thinking, how come you're talking about sex and drugs and rock and roll? What sort of thing is that to talk about as a Muslim? I remember once in UK, we were giving this talk and we were advertising it, and some of the masjids, they wouldn't put the poster up. They said, no sex in the masjid. You can't even have the word in the masjid, you know. Alhamdulillah. But you know, of course, my brothers and sisters, when we talk about, I tell you what today's topic is not going to be about. Today's talk is not going to be about the fiqh of music. Is it halal? Is it haram? Is it makruh? It's not going to be about that. Sex outside of marriage, is it halal? Is it haram? What is the ruling in Islam? Today's talk is not about that. Drugs. What is the ruling in Islam on drugs? I'm not talking about that. I'm going to be talking about something much more fundamental, something much more basic than even that. Today's talk is a little bit, in a sense, about philosophy. It's about life, the purpose of life. Why are we here? What is the reason for our existence? And in this world, in fact, we don't need to go very far. We don't need to even talk about the world. We can just talk about the Maldives. We don't even need to talk about the Maldives. We can just talk about the capital, Mali. In fact, we can see two competing ideas right here. Because you, my brothers and sisters, mashallah, you have come here, or maybe you're sitting watching this on TV. I really wish you were here. It's much more fun if you are here. You'll enjoy the atmosphere more. It's a bit hotter, you don't have the AC. And I know some of you are watching this on the islands, mashallah. Just, I don't know where, can you hear that music? Can you hear the music? Yeah? You see, this is it, brothers and sisters. There are some of us sitting here finding out something about Allah, about His religion, and there are some other people over there. They have a different idea of what life is about. They think life is about something else. And someone has sold them a philosophy. Someone has sold them a religion, a way of thinking. Because you know, this is, the heart of my lecture, my brothers and sisters, is the very idea of religion itself. The very idea of religion. What does it mean in the Quran when Allah says, Inna deena inda Allahi al-Islam? Verily, certainly, definitely, the deen with Allah is Islam. What does this mean? What does this word deen mean? Does it just mean religion? And what do we understand When we say this word religion, what does that mean to us? You know, part of the challenge that we always face when we talk about anything is that words have a meaning, but the meaning of certain words can change throughout time and circumstances. Now, for example, if 50, 60 years ago, I went around saying, I'm feeling gay today, you know, no one, you know, people would understand one thing. If I said I'm feeling gay today, people will understand something different. You know, the language changes, the meaning changes. When we say the word religion, often, especially in the West, this word religion produces an idea. It's connected with an idea in the minds of people. And because the West is a secularized society, because the West, and in fact this is true of most of the world, has made a division between religion and life. Religion and life. Deen and dunya. And they think the two things are separate. So when you say religion, when you say this word religion in the West, people think of going to the church once a week. They think of some rituals. They think of some things that people do in their life. So it's very easy for them to think of religion as being something separate from their ordinary life. But this is not what the word deen means. When we say deen, when we talk about religion, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about deen, Allah is talking about the way you live your life. The way you live your life. And so think about that. When Allah says, Inna deena inda Allahi al-Islam, that verily the way of life, the way you live, that is acceptable to Allah, is the way of submitting and surrendering and obeying Allah. This is what it means, Inna deena inda Allahi al-Islam. The way you live your life. How do you live your life? What is it that you put your faith and your hope and your trust in? What is it that you believe is going to make you happy and give you success in life? It would be very interesting, even here in the Maldives, to go around and do a poll, an opinion poll. Let's take the word success, and ask people, what is your definition of success? In fact, brothers and sisters, ask yourself now, right now, I want you to ask yourself, what is your definition of success? Is your definition of success that you have a good education, you have a good job with a good salary, with a nice house, with a nice motorbike or a nice car even, a beautiful wife, a rich husband? What is your definition of success? Because for most people in the world, that would be their definition of success. They would define success and they would say a successful person is one who makes money, who has a nice house, who has a nice car, who has a beautiful partner. This, most people in the world would define as success. And if that is your definition of success, then you must truly ask yourself, what does it mean to be Muslim? What is your deen? Because when we talk about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, what we are talking about really is this is a talk about lifestyle. This is a talk about lifestyle. This is a talk about how you live your life. And there is a whole way of life, the way of life of sex, drugs, rock and roll. It's a catchphrase. It's a catchphrase that describes a way of thinking, a way of living. And what does it say? It says there's no God. There's no God. There's no paradise. There's no day of judgment. There's no hellfire. There's no pie in the sky waiting for me when I die. If you want to have fun, if you want to enjoy yourself, if you want paradise, you need to find it right here, right now on this earth. So you enjoy your life. Enjoy your life and live it to the max. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. That's the message. That's the message. It's the message of the consumer society, the materialistic culture, the idea that in the world and the things of this world and the pleasures of this world, you will find happiness. The word they call it, the word they have for it is hedonism. Hedonism. That's the idea that with sex and music and drink and drugs and money and entertainment and this is how you will be happy. This is how you will enjoy your life. This is the religion of the world today. This is the religion of most people, even most of the people who call themselves Muslim. Their true deen is this one. The way they truly think of success is the materialistic one. They don't think of success as being Jannah. They don't think of success as praying 5 times a day, of fasting Ramadan, of memorizing the Quran. Most people don't think of success as a person who is a scholar, who has knowledge, who is studying the knowledge of the religion. They don't think of this one as being the successful one. No, 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 no. So this is it. The materialistic society. And we are surrounded everywhere by the preaching of the materialist culture, the hedonism, the sex, drugs, rock and roll society. We turn on the TV, we see it and we hear it. We open the newspapers and the magazines, we see it and we hear it. We turn on the radio, we hear it. It's everywhere. It's all pervasive. You even walk on the street and you see the billboards, the advertisements, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We are being exposed to this message. The message that if you buy this, and if you buy that, and if you have this, and if you have that, you will be happy. Your life will be better. You will have more fun. Look at it. Let's look at some of those advertisements. I remember back in the United Kingdom, they had an advertisement for an alcoholic drink called Bacardi. Bacardi is a rum. It's a type of strong alcoholic drink. And the advertisement might have been a picture of an island here in the Maldives. There was a beautiful, beautiful white beach, palm trees hanging down, blue seas and blue skies. And you could see 2 bikini-clad girls walking down the beach. You know, you look at that, I want to be there. That's where I want to be. And the advertisement said, this is what the caption was: a rainy Sunday night in Peckham if you are drinking Bacardi. Now I need to tell you something about British culture. Though our weekend is Saturday and Sunday, yeah? Your weekend is Friday and Saturday. Our weekend is Saturday and Sunday. So the worst day in the week, the worst time in the whole week is Sunday night. Because Sunday night means the next day I have to go back to work. I have to go to my boring job in that boring office with those stupid people. Really? Most of them hate their work. They just work for what? They just work so they can make enough money to have fun, to buy these things. So you can imagine it's Sunday nights. And rain, I don't know, in the Maldives, you probably like rain. In England, we hate rain. Rain, all we get is rain. It rains, and that's why the biggest number of tourists that come to the Maldives is from what country? Do you know? From where? It's from UK. The biggest percentage. Because we have so much rain. So it's Sunday night and it's raining. That means it's cold, it's miserable, it's Sunday night. Oh, it's the worst. Tomorrow is Monday, and even worse, I'm in Peckham. Now Peckham, I really can't describe to you what a horrible place it is. It's a really horrible place. You don't have even horrible places like that in the Maldives. Peckham is horrible. So you can imagine, here's the advert. You're on the worst day of the week, the weather is horrible, and you're living in this dump of a place, Peckham. But, if you are drinking Bacardi, it will seem as if you are in paradise. You see, that's the message. You know, this is what we are being indoctrinated with, brainwashed with. Oh, alcohol paradise, alcohol. I could be in the worst condition. I'll drink Bacardi. Look at the adverts for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. It's the real thing. Coke is life. Coke is it. And you see the advertisements for Coca-Cola. The sun is shining. The young girls, they look so gorgeous. They're brown. Not brown like you. White brown, you know. When white people get brown, it's so sexy. And they're the girls smiling, and the boys, six-pack. You know, like Mr. Khan who's coming. Six-pack. Drinking the Coca-Cola. And you're looking at that and you're saying, I want some of that. You know, the women are looking and saying, oh, I want some of that man, he's nice. And we're looking at the girls, we say, oh, that, I want some of that. So what do you think? What do you do? Your mind, you don't even realize it, but in your brain, you don't realize it, but the people who make the advertisement, they know how to manipulate your mind. Because they spend billions of dollars studying how to brainwash you to buy their products. So you see that, you say, I want some of that. And in your brain you connect, oh, they're drinking Coca-Cola. Coke is it, it's the real thing. So you think, oh, if I drink Coca-Cola, I will be young and beautiful and have a nice time like them. So what do? You go out, buy some Coca-Cola. You know what Coca-Cola does to you? Coca-Cola doesn't give you shiny white teeth. It rots your teeth, makes you fat, and you get cancer. That's what Coca-Cola does to you. It doesn't make you young and happy, and no. It's the opposite. But people are thinking, oh, if I drink Coca-Cola, I will be like those people. My life will be like that. And you look at all the advertisements, whether it's for a washing machine, or, you know, washing up liquid, clothes liquid, I don't know. I didn't watch the TV here in the Maldives, so I don't know about your advertisements. But you will find, look at them. They are all trying to, they're not just trying to sell you a product. They don't just say, you know, this product will wash your clothes and this and that, and it's got in it this ingredient. No, 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 no. They want you to feel that is if you buy this product, your whole life will change. Your whole life will change. And they're very good at that. Because they want us to be consumers. They want us to buy, spend, spend, spend. So they make us think that if I have this and if I have that, my life will be so much better. You see, I have my mobile phone here, my HTC. But you know what? One of the brothers, he's driving me around. He has the HTC HD2. That's the more new model than mine. I keep looking at it jealously. He's got the HTC HD2. How come I've only got the HTC HD? Oh, I want what he's got. Now, what's the difference between my phone and his phone? You know what's the difference? The screen is a little bit bigger. It has a slightly faster operating system, but there is one really cool feature. The HTC HD2, eat your heart out, iPhone. It acts as a wireless router. So I can log in to the internet through my HTC HD2 if only I had it. Oh, I want it. Oh, yes, I do. I'm not happy anymore with this mobile phone. I need the latest. I need the latest gadget. You see, we're never happy. I want the latest thing. I need the next thing. My life is going to be different. My life will not be the same if I don't have the latest phone. This is what they want you to believe. How did I ever live without it? This is what they want us to believe. So what? We will consume and consume and consume. Buy this, buy that, have this, have that. The consumer society. The consumer culture. Now, just like every religion, the materialist religion has its theologians. It has to have some attempt at a rational basis to explain it. So, for the materialist culture, the most important idea is the idea of evolution. Evolution is essential to the whole materialistic philosophy. Because what does evolution say? Evolution says that you and me and all the human beings and everything in this universe evolved through a series of random events. There's no God. We don't need God. Evolution has explained everything. Evolution has explained how we came here without the need for believing in God. This is the heart of what evolution is saying. This is the heart of their philosophy. You don't need to resort to God to explain how we came to be here. You and me and everybody, we are descended from apes. Actually, no, that's not quite true. They don't say that. They say we and apes are descended from a common ancestor. Yeah, that's what they say. We come from the same branch of the tree. But basically, we human beings are sophisticated monkeys. That's it. Think about it. We're just animals. But we're a little bit more complex, a little bit more sophisticated, but basically we're animals. Now, how do you make a monkey happy? How do you make a monkey happy? Very easy. Give monkey banana. Banana. Give him some food. Happy monkey. Yeah? So that's the number one. Number two, keep the monkey safe. Keep the monkeys safe from the lions and the cheetahs and the snakes, and meaning you give the monkey some shelter, keep him safe. Happy monkey? Ooh. Yeah. And of course, give man monkey, woman monkey, woman monkey, man monkey, a very happy monkey. Ooh. You got a really happy monkey. So if you give the monkey some food, you give the monkey shelter, and you give the monkey some sex, and don't worry, if man monkey doesn't like woman monkey, man monkey can go with man monkey, and woman monkey with woman monkey, because it doesn't matter anyway. It's all natural, right? It's just your feelings. You've just evolved that way. If you're homosexual, if you're gay, according to this idea, of course, that's just nature. You feel those things because it's natural. That's what they claim. So just do it. As that famous Nike slogan tells you, just go do it. Just do it, man. Don't think about it. Don't philosophize about it. Just go and do it. Get out there and have fun. Fulfill your desires, because you're just an advanced monkey. That's what they're saying. So that's why our governments concentrate on doing what? Do they concentrate on morals? Do they concentrate on manners? The laws that most of us live by, whose laws are they? They're monkey laws. They're sophisticated monkey laws. Laws made by other monkeys for other monkeys. That's it. A bunch of monkeys in parliament making some laws for some other monkeys. It's a whole lot of monkey business. That's it. It's the laws we live by. The law of the jungle, really. The law of the jungle. Because we're just monkeys, right? So what do? The governments, they concentrate on, and what most people vote who have the chance to vote, what do they vote for? What do they look for in their governments? MashaAllah, let me see. Is he a pious person? Does he fear Allah? Does he want to judge by the book of Allah? Does he implement Islam? Does he teach us? No. We look at, is this man going to make me richer? Is he going to make my economy stronger? Is he going to give me more health care? Is he going to make, things cheaper for us? Are we going to have a more comfortable life? That's what we look for. And believe me, most governments where there's democracy, the ones who get into power because they can persuade the people that we are going to make you richer. Bill Clinton, you know what he won? He won his election on one phrase. It's the economy, stupid. That's it. It's the economy. It's all about money. It's all about wealth. I mean, these people say they're Christian and they say they're Muslim. Our politicians, they claim these things, but how many of them stand up and say, the Christians, how many times did you hear Bush or Blair or any one of those so-called Christian leaders of so-called Christian countries saying, you know how to be happy? If you want to be happy, believe in Jesus. Is that what they say? Vote for me because Jesus, I'm going to bring Jesus into your life. Is that what they say? No, they don't say that. They don't say that. They say, vote for me because I'll make you more money. I'll make you more happy with materialistic things. We'll improve the economy. We'll give you health care. We'll improve your social security. The same with our Muslim leaders. The same things. That's what they're claiming. They don't say, brothers and sisters, you know what? I'm afraid our economy will go down. We will not have so much money, but you know what? We will live by the law of Allah. Who says that? Who says that? And you know what? We're not interested. Because you know what? We're Muslim by name. We don't know what deen means, because we just want the money. Maybe it's true. Maybe we're just sophisticated monkeys. We just like the banana, the shelter, and the sex. That's it. That's how we keep us happy, maybe. No, brothers. No, sisters. The brothers notice, mashallah, I'm sweating. One of the difference between us and monkeys, actually. Okay. MashaAllah. Monkey music. We're going to get to music, brothers and sisters. You see? So this is the philosophy, evolution. So we've got the philosophy, evolution. Now we've got, just like a religion has to have ibadah. Muslims, we have salah, we have zakah, we have Ramadan. Sure. The materialistic culture has it. And that's what it is, music. Music. Music is the worship of the materialist culture. The Quran of shaitan. That is what shaitan calls the people to his misguidance, to his materialism with music. That's what it's all about. Yeah? And you see them. You listen to them. You see how they behave. It's very strange. Why do they need to fill their lives with this music? Why? Think about it. Why do they need this music? What's it all for? What do they need this music for? Because you know what? Their lives are so empty. They have nothing in their lives. They have no understanding, they have no guidance, they have no comprehension. So they need to fill their empty lives with this noise. It's a substitute. That's what it is. There's no understanding. Music. And you see them dancing. Dancing, the music, boom, 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 like that, hours and hours, dancing like that. For hours and hours and hours. I remember watching a documentary when they went and filmed these people. There was this phenomenon in England called raves, the rave scene. And people would just go, thousands of them, to a field. And they would put up these big speakers, and then they would start the music, bum, 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 they're dancing. And there was this one guy. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock in the morning. These guys have been dancing all night. I remember back in the days when I used to do that stuff, we used to go to discos. That's the old John Travolta days. We used to go to discos. And we used to finish like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. These guys were still going on at 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock in the morning. Subhanallah. And the camera was interviewing this guy. And it was saying, oh, why do you come here? Why do you dance? What's it all for? You know what he says? He says, I have this boring job. I have this boring life. But I come here and I dance and I dance and I dance until I forget myself. Until I forget myself. That's what it's all about. Forgetting yourself, getting lost. Living in a world of fantasy and escapism. That's what it's all about. Drugs, alcohol, what is it all about? Why do people take heroin? Why do people drink alcohol? Why do people smoke marijuana? Because they want to escape. And look at the words they use. Look at the words they use for this. I got stoned. I was wasted. I was on cloud 9. I got high. I was out of it. What does that describe? Stoned, wasted, high, cloud 9, out of it. Look at these words. What do they describe? They describe, my brothers and sisters, a state of self-annihilation. Self-annihilation. I destroyed myself. I was like a stone. What feeling does a stone have? What feeling does a stone have? None. I was wasted. Out of it. Out of what? Huh? You see these people? They go drinking. And they come home in the morning. And you know what? They come home and they're sick. Blah. And they fall asleep in a pool of their own sick. Yeah, really. We have this problem in England. The police on Saturday night, they are so busy looking after people who are drunk in case they drown in their own vomits. That's alcohol. That's what happens. So that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They're so drunk. And then they wake up in the morning, they say, oh, I had such a good time last night. You had a good time? What did you do? He said, I don't remember. That's why I had a good time. The more they forget, the more of a good time they had. And that's it. It's all about music. Makes you forget. Lost in music. I'm lost in music. I forget. I'm drunk. I forget. I watch the TV. I watch the movies. I'm in the fantasy world. Avatar world. I forget about the world around me. I forget. It's all about escapism. It's all about running away from yourself. If you're so happy, why do you need to drink? If you're so happy, why do you need to listen to music? If you're so happy, why do you need to watch these films? Why? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll if you're so happy. No, my brothers and sisters. The reason why these people immerse themselves in this thing is because they are miserable. They are sad, miserable, lost, unhappy people. That's why they take drugs. That's why they listen to music. That's why they spend hours watching these movies, because they have no true happiness inside. And look at them. Look at them. Look at the people, their heroes, who play these guitars and scream and screech like imbecilic fools to that noise. I was talking to one of the brothers today. He said, oh, we were in the restaurant and there was a singer playing. His name was Kurt Cobain. He was the lead singer of a group called Nirvana. So famous, so well known. What did he have, brothers and sisters? Think about it. Money, he had it. Fame, he had it. Women, he had everything that they tell you in this consumer society. All the things they tell you that if you have these things, you'll be happy. Fame, beauty, money. He had it all. How did he die? He shot himself. He shot himself. Yes, you over there playing the music. He shot himself. That's what his music did for him. What did it achieve for him? Nothing. If it's going to make you happy, how come it didn't make him happy? How about Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll? The king of rock and roll died at 42 years old. Why? Drugs. Pharmaceutical drugs. He needed drugs to wake him up in the morning, drugs to send him to sleep at night, uppers, downers, taking pills the whole time. He was rich, he was beautiful, he was famous. The great singer, the king of rock and roll, died from drugs. Look at them. Look at these miserable examples of humanity. Yet they are the ones that they hold up as an example. They are the ones that they say, oh, you need to be like them. Why do we need to be like them? Why would anyone want to be like them? Because you know what, my brothers and sisters? When you look at it with open eyes, you will see it's a lie. You will see their whole religion is a false religion. It's a lie. Wealth does not equal happiness. Music and drugs and sex, drugs, it's just escapism. They just want you to be a slave to their consumer, materialistic society. And you know what the scary thing is? They need you to be miserable. They need you to be miserable. They want you to be miserable. Because the more miserable you are, the more you will consume. That's how it works. Miserable people consume. Miserable people have to fill their lives with music and fantasy and films and magazines and fashion. That's what miserable people do. Miserable people go shopping and have retail therapy because they're sad, because they're miserable. That's why they get drunk. That's why they listen to music. That's why they spend money watching movies. That's what all this industry survives on. It survives on the misery of people. People trying to fill their miserable, empty lives with these things. That's what it depends upon. The consumer society. And then the people consume and they consume and they consume. And that's what they know it. Believe me, brothers and sisters, they know it. They know that their magazines and their music industry and their film industry and their alcohol and their drugs, it relies upon you being miserable. And that's why they're enemies of religion. That's why they're enemies of true religion. That's why. Because when you have the truth, when you know the reality of what is the purpose of your life, when you truly understand you don't need that stuff. That stuff becomes like someone grating your head. That's what it just becomes, an ugly noise. It disturbs the peace of the soul, the true peace of the soul. And they don't want that. That's what they're fighting against. They're fighting against truth. And you ask these people, ask them. Go on. Let's go and ask those people, whoever they are. What's the purpose of your life? What's the reason for your existence? Why are you here on this planet? What's it all for? Ask them. Ask them, what are your eyes for? They'll say, oh, it's to see. What are your ears for? Oh, to hear. What are your shoes for? Oh, to protect my feet. What is the pen for? To write. What are you for? What are you for? What is the reason for your existence? Why are you here? You know what they'll say? Oh, to play the guitar. Yeah. You know what, to play, what, like Kurt Cobain? Like him? What did his guitar do for him? Huh? Oh, the purpose of my life. It's my girlfriend here. Oh, isn't that romantic? Oh, isn't that sweet? Yeah. Oh, that's the purpose of your life. Yeah. She's the purpose in your life until she runs off with that guy from the Coke advert with the six-pack. She runs off with him and it's like, oh, what's my life for? Why am I here? Then you start crying. Oh, the purpose of my life is to get a degree, to get a good job. I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be this, until you fail. Then they commit suicide. The purpose of my life is money, but the money goes, they kill themselves. So no, we're not asking, what do you want to do with your life? We're not asking, what do you want to fill your life with? We're asking, why do human beings exist? For what reason do we exist? Your eye has a purpose. Your ears have a purpose. Your mouth, your shoes, your pen, everything has a purpose. What is the purpose of life? Why are human beings here? For what reason do we exist? Here is the question, my brothers and sisters. So what I'm going to do is just go to a simple, back to my mobile phone. You see, imagine you got a new piece of technology. Imagine you got a new piece of technology. Imagine you haven't really used mobile phones that much before. I mean, today it's all pretty familiar, but there was a time when it wasn't. Or you buy something new, you're not familiar with it, right? So when you buy it, you're looking around. There's something you want to find. Something that's going to help you know how to use this piece of technology. What is it you're looking for? Huh? What are you looking for? Come on. I can't hear you. There's too much music in the background. Yeah, he's even holding one up. The manual, the instruction book. I'm looking for the instruction book. How do I work this thing? How do I make it work? How do I get the best out of it? Yeah? I mean, you might be able to turn it on and make a phone call, but no, you want to know more than that. You want to know all its features. Now imagine I bought my HTC HD, yeah? And I open up the box, and in it, I found an instruction manual for an iPhone. Is that any good? Is it? Is that any good? If I found an instruction manual, I've got an HTC ID Windows operating system, but I open it up and I find there's a book by Apple for an iPhone. Is that any good to me? Yes or no? If you found that, what would you do in your product? What would you do? Oh, you take it back, right? This is the wrong instruction manual. I want the one who made this phone to give me the instruction manual. Because they made this phone, they built it, and they'll know how to operate it. So if you want to know the purpose of life, and more important even than the purpose of life, not only the purpose of life, but how do you live that life? I don't want instructions from some monkeys sitting in a parliament. I don't want instructions from some human being, because The human beings did not make me. They did not make me. Who made me? Who made you? Allah, the Creator. Allah, the Creator, He made us. And if we want to know the purpose of our life, if we want to know the reason for which we exist, and we want to know how to fulfill that created purpose, we need the instructions from the one who made us, from the one who created us. Who knows us better than the one who created us? Imagine, I went to the marketplace, yeah, and I bought this phone. Oh, this is nice. How much is that? How much would it cost here? What do you think? I don't even know the name of your currency. What's your currency called? Huh? Huh? Rufiya. So how much would this cost? How many rufiya would this cost? 5,000? Is that a lot of money? Imagine I went to the marketplace, spent 5,000 rufiya for this phone. Oh, that's nice. And I use it to scratch my arms. How stupid is that? How stupid is that? Oh, but it's nice, it's smooth. It's nice, right? What a waste of money. But that's how most human beings are. They have this most amazing mind, this body, this life that we live, and we don't even know the purpose of it. We don't even know what it's for. We don't even know what we're capable of. We're misusing what we have been given. But you know what? God has given us guidance. The Creator has given us guidance. He's given us the instruction manual. And that instruction manual is the Quran. The book that is from Allah. The book. Alif Lam Mim. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Alif Lam Mim. This is the book without doubt. Huda, guidance for the pious people. The Quran is a book of guidance. It is guidance from the one who created the heavens and the earth. The one who created you and the one who created me. To teach us how to live. To teach us what is the purpose of our life. What is the reason for our existence. And is it sex, drugs and rock and roll, brothers and sisters? Is that the reason for which we exist? Do we exist? Is the definition of success. You know, we have that word. We should hear it every single day, 5 times a day. You know what success? When the mu'adhin says, Hayya ala al-falah. You know what that means? Come to success. Falah means success. Huh? Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala al-falah. Come to the salah. Come to the prayer. Come to success. That is the true success. The true success is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The purpose of life, the reason for which we exist, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah is telling us, I have not created the human beings or the jinn and the human beings illa liya'badun. It means except to worship me. There is no other purpose in life, my brothers. There is no other purpose in life, my sisters. We exist to worship Allah. قُلْ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةِ وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَا وَمَمَاتِ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Say, قُلْ, verily, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةِ, verily my prayer, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةِ وَنُسُكِي, and my sacrifice, and my life and my death, it's all for Allah. All of it is for Allah Rabbil Alameen, the Lord of the worlds. There is, in Islam, it's your whole life. Because when Allah told us He did not create us except to worship Him. You know what's the definition of ibadah in Islam? You know what the word ibadah comes from? It comes from abd, slave. When you are a slave, you are owned by your master. Not for 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. You're owned by your master 24 hours. You belong to him. You belong to your master. And what your master orders you to do, you do it. That's what a good slave does. And a bad slave disobeys their master. And you are either punished or rewarded according to that. Yes, but you know what? This is not a degraded status. This is a lofty status. This is a noble position to be a servant, a slave of Allah. The Lord of all the heavens and the earth is the most lofty station a human being can achieve. And so the definition of ibadah at its heart is that you submit and surrender yourself to Allah. You obey your Lord, your Creator. That's what it means, ibadah. And so there is a beautiful definition of ibadah. Ibadah is everything which Allah the Creator loves and is pleased with. From the actions of the heart and the actions of the limbs. Everything which Allah the Creator loves and is pleased with. From the action of the heart and the action of the limbs. That's ibadah. Think about that, my brothers. Think about that, my sisters. That means the purpose of life, the reason for which we exist, is to try to make everything you do and everything you feel in a way that Allah loves and Allah is pleased with. And what are the actions of the heart? When we say an action of the heart, what do we mean an action of the heart? Well, an action of the heart is love. That's an action of the heart. Intention, that's an action of the heart. Sincerity, ikhlas, that's an action of the heart. Hope, trust, fear, awe, reverence, these are actions of the heart. So you know, brothers and sisters, what a Muslim, a true believer in Allah is trying. You are trying to make your love. You see, you can love in a way that is pleasing to Allah, and you can love in a way that is displeasing to Allah. In the Quran, Allah mentions, the meaning of which is, there are some people who love others as they should love Allah. They love them as they should love Allah. How can you love someone, another human being or another thing, in the way that you should? Or how can you make anything equal with Allah? How can you love something more than Allah? How? But you can, people do. People do. And that's shirk. That's making rivals with Allah, but Allah has no rivals. So what is it? You try to make your love in a way that is pleasing to Allah. First of all, you love Allah more than anything else. You love Allah more than anyone else. More than your mother, your father, your country, your wife, your children. You love Allah more than anyone else. Anything else. And after Allah, the next one you love is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Yes. You know that. You know the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, none of you truly believes until you love me more than your mother and your father and your children and even your own self. You don't truly believe. What does that mean, love? What is this love? Is this love the same as the love I have for my wife or my children or my mother or my father or my pet? No! The love for Allah is a special love. It is the love of complete submission. That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say, because there were some people in the time of the Prophet, they said, we love Allah, we love Allah. They said, we love Allah. They were mushriks, Christians, Jews, maybe even singers. We love God. So Allah told the Prophet to say, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَحِبُّنَ اللَّهِ فَتَبِيُّونِ يَحْبِبْكُمْ اللَّهِ. Say, O Muhammad, if it's true, say to these people, if you really love Allah, follow me. Follow me. Meaning follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If it's true, you will follow Rasulullah. You will make ittiba, you will follow the messenger. If you really love Allah, you will follow him. Follow him. You will do what he does. Because he sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the best worshipper of Allah. No one can worship Allah better than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He feared Allah the most of us. He was sent to be our example. And that is why we follow his sunnah. That is why we follow his way. Because he is the best example, the best in character, the best in deed, the best in worship. That is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That is our example. That is the one who we try to follow sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It's him, Rasulullah. So we try to do everything in a way that is pleasing. I try to make my love, to love what Allah loves, to hate what Allah hates, to put my hope and trust in Allah, to believe that success, true success, comes from following Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, by obeying Allah and by following his messenger. That is the true success. If you really believe that, then you are a Muslim. Then you know what deen means. Then you know what Islam means. If you know that, otherwise we're just Muslim by name. It's just a name that we have. We call ourselves that because maybe the constitution says we have to. Huh? Is this Islam? Is that Islam? Is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's way? Can you imagine the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam playing this nonsense, listening to this nonsense, putting up with this nonsense? Wallahi, brothers and sisters, what you're hearing now, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to preach, this is what the mushriks used to do. They used to play music to divert people away from the Quran. This is what the enemies of Islam used to do. This is what the enemies of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to do that. And this is a Muslim country. Subhanallah. This is a Muslim country. And look, they are fighting Islam without any shame. What else is going on, you tell me? Subhanallah. And we call ourselves Muslim. What does deen mean, my brothers and sisters? Everywhere we are suffering. Everywhere we are being slaughtered. Our lands are a feast for our enemies. And you know what we want to blame? We want to blame the CIA, the FBI, the Illuminati, the Masons, the Rotary Club, yeah? It's all a big conspiracy, isn't it, brothers and sisters? But how about us? Are we following Islam? Are we following the deen? Do they force us to behave like this? Is that the reality, my brothers and sisters? I don't think so. The reason is because we are not following our deen. We don't know what deen means. We've become Coca-Cola Muslims, McDonald's Muslims, consumer Muslims. That's what we've become. And I say we, I include myself. I include myself. We've been caught up. We're not really the people we should be. We don't really love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam because you can see we don't really follow his sunnah. Where is the deen in our lives? Personally and collectively. Where is the deen in our societies? It's amazing, my brothers and sisters, that we feel we can call ourselves Muslims and we say our land is a Muslim land, yet we think we can choose to follow the instructions of Allah or not. What we pick and choose now. Okay, I'll follow these instructions but not those ones. These ones about the laws that we should have, no, I don't want that. Thank you Allah, thank you God. Astaghfirullah, how could you be a Muslim and think like that or say like that? No, we prefer the United Nations version. Monkey-made laws. Yeah? Because that's it, right? That's what they say. They say they're from monkeys. We don't say that. We say we're from Adam. They say that they're from monkeys. So what does that make us when we prefer the way of monkeys to the way of Allah? Self-confessed people who by their own confession have come from monkeys. And we throw the book of Allah behind our back and we follow the ways of these people. Do you think we deserve anything except humiliation? Do you think we deserve the help of Allah? Do we think we deserve that? Maybe the next tsunami won't pass us by, brothers and sisters. You need to study the history. You need to see what happened to Bani Israel. People whom Allah gave guidance. People to whom Allah, you know, there was never a time when the Bani Israel did not have a prophet living with them. That's how Allah favored them above every nation. Above all the nations, Allah favored them. Yet look what happened to them when they rebelled, when they transgressed. The stories are there in the Quran for us to learn the lesson, my brothers and sisters. To learn the lesson. But do we learn the lesson? Do we understand? Do we pick up the book of Allah? Do we read it and get guidance from it? Or is it, brothers and sisters, we've just been taken in, brainwashed. We've just become consumers. Brothers, Islam and sisters, Islam is our deen. It must be our way of life. And you know what? You know what? There is something inside you. There is a piece of you that will never be satisfied. It will never be filled. It will never find peace and happiness except in loving Allah and remembering Him and worshipping Him and following His guidance. There is a peace. It doesn't matter what you do, how many drugs you take, how much music you listen to, how much sex you have, how much you try to enjoy your life. There will always be that piece of you that will never be filled except by knowing Allah and loving Allah and following His guidance and remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you know what? If you do know Allah, if you do love Allah, if you do follow Allah and you follow His guidance, you will really truly taste a little bit of paradise here on this earth. You will truly understand a little bit of what that true Jannah is going to be like. And reaching that paradise, my brothers, reaching that paradise, that is the true success. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Brother Green. I have your HTC here with me. This is the end of the lecture for tonight. And now we open for Q&A session. I'm told that there are two mics, one for the gents. I think the mic for the gents is on third row down there. And the one for ladies, I don't see it, but it must be somewhere near the ladies. Okay, for question and answers, it will be one question per person for a time. If you have a second question, you have to go back to the queue and queue up again for a second chance. Please keep your questions as short, as brief as possible in order to save time. And we will entertain questions only based on tonight's topic, not questions outside the topic. So before we go to the questions, I would like a bit of advice is go for open-ended questions rather than close-ended questions. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Mahfouz Ibrahim and I'm a student. As this is an age of science and technology, most of the people doesn't believe that music is haram and accept that to them scientifically. They say, you bring us scientific evidence and we'll believe. How can we prove to them that music is haram scientifically?
You see, the basis of our deen is not science. It's not science. What does it matter if we can prove to them? You can't prove music is haram scientifically, because halal and haram is not determined by science. Halal and haram is determined by the Quran and the Sunnah. That's what determines halal and haram. Science is always changing. When Einstein developed his theory of general relativity, he asked the astronomers of the time, what did they think was the state of the universe? And there was a consensus amongst the astrologers are the ones who read the stars, the astronomers of the time, that the universe was eternal and unchanging and constant. Einstein was not happy because his theory didn't really match that. So he had to add something to his theory called the cosmological constant. And that was to explain his theory of general relativity in a static universe. Then they found out that the universe is not static, that the universe is expanding. So then Einstein had to change his theory. So science is changing the whole time. How can you prove anything with something that is constantly changing? The thing they hold to be a fact one day becomes a fiction the next day. Science is not certainty. It's not. Science is speculative by its nature. It's dhann, it's speculation. Even the whole of the idea of science is based upon a philosophically false premise. It's based upon the expectation that because we observe something happening again and again and again, it's going to keep happening again and again and again. And of course, that's a fallacy, as lots of chickens find out every day. Chickens are quite perhaps thinking that as they're walking around, right, the farmer comes in the morning, gives them some seed. And the chicken probably thinks that every day, just as the farmer comes and throws them the seed, that's going to keep on happening every day. But of course, what they don't realize is that one day the farmer's going to come and he's going to cut their throat and have some halal chicken. The presumption of the chicken is wrong. But science, the whole of science is based upon that presumption. We observe this happening and we presume it's going to keep on happening like that, and therefore we predict this and we predict that and we predict this. That may not necessarily be true. Science is just a tool. Science is useful for some things and it's not useful for some things. So we don't prove something is from the deen or not from the deen based upon science. The Quran determines what is halal and what is haram. The Sunnah determines what is halal and what is haram. If you want things to be proven to you halal or haram through science, you're following the wrong religion. That's not what Muslims have as their criterion. It's not our means of deciding halal and haram science. No. Our means is the Quran. Our means is the Sunnah. Maybe our state of knowledge does not allow us to understand why something is haram today, and maybe our state of knowledge will show why it is haram in the future. For example, the Sahaba, did they know all the details and the names of all the diseases that a pig contained? Did they know that? Okay, now we know that pig has trichinosis and worms and so many diseases, and it is so unhealthy for you because of this reason and that reason and that reason. But imagine now, I could make a healthy pig. A pig that has no diseases. A pig that has all these side effects taken out, and I can prove scientifically that this particular pig will not give you any of those problems. Is it halal now? Is it now halal? No. No. Because it's haram, because Allah said it's haram. That's why. Now if the person needs to understand, and we need to prove to that person, how do we know the Quran is from Allah? How do we know the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the messenger of Allah? This is a different question. And of course we can prove that through reason, through logic. Science can help us to understand, to show that how can we explain all of these things except that it must be from Allah. So we can prove that. But once you accept the Quran is from Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the messenger of Allah, then upon you is to hear and obey. Sami'na wa ata'na. We hear and we obey. If Allah says this is haram, it's haram. If Allah said it is halal, it is halal. This is what we use to judge halal and haram, not science. Jazakallah khair, my brother. Next question.
Assalamu
Wa alaikum assalam.
Okay, it's on. We go to the sisters and then we come back to the gents. And I again request you to keep your question to the topic. And before you start your question, please say your name and the profession, and then you can go ahead with the question. Question for the sisters, please. None? Okay, we go to this gents back. Brother, you can go ahead with the question.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I am a school teacher. In the schools, we teach music to our students. Some of our school believe without music, children cannot study well, because enlighten the brain of the children.
I'm sorry, bro. Did you say without music, our children cannot study well?
Because music helps to enlighten the brain. The brain, without the stimulus of our brain, we cannot study well. So is there any connection between the music and the education?
Let me ask you a question. Did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ever listen to music?
No.
So as a Muslim, what would you say from your knowledge of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about that particular theory? I mean, if that was the case, as what you say, then the people who would have listened to music the most would have been the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions and their children. Yes or no?
That's right.
I think so. So I think that's absolute rubbish. That is lies. And it's more monkey stuff. Yeah, it's more monkey stuff. That's what monkeys would say. Yeah. So I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true at all. I don't think music helps you to study at all. In fact, the opposite. Music is a distraction away from study. I think we have to understand that as a Muslim, as a believer, as a person who is trying to do everything in a way that is pleasing to Allah, as a person who defines success as being the establishment of prayer, the memorization of the Quran, studying and understanding the deen, making dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what we have been created for. It is obvious that music almost always will distract you away from that, not encourage you towards it. Even nasheeds, and I don't say nasheeds, and by nasheeds I mean the nasheeds that contain singing without musical instruments. I don't believe nasheeds are haram. In fact, I have one friend of mine who sings nasheeds. I even wrote some nasheeds for him. However, I still think that nasheeds, even nasheeds, can be distracting away from more important things than listening to Quran and learning the deen. I have seen it myself, in my own kids. So even something like nasheeds, you have to be careful. Let alone those other types of music that contain the most filthy type of lyrics, encouraging people to sin and disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and every evil and unwholesome activity that you can imagine. And the problem is, it's like drugs also. My mum always used to warn me, don't start taking drugs. Even marijuana. Even if you start taking the most least harmful of drugs, the problem is it leads to something else. You start with this one, then you go to something else stronger, then you go to something else stronger. Music is the same. It's like a drug. It's the same thing. It has the same effect. Because what music does is the same as a drug. Actually, there are scientific studies about music, about how music alters our brain waves. It alters the way we think and the way we feel. Therefore, music has a similar type of effect to being intoxicated. The effect of music is similar to the effect of being intoxicated. It alters our brain waves and our way of thinking. And mostly it does that in a negative, not in a positive way. Yes, there's some evidence, of music, some types of music having therapeutic effects and so on and so forth. But I think the point here is, what is the therapy that we are trying to achieve? What is the end result? If we say, my brother, that education is about training our children in order to be able to maximize their economic output, that will be very different from thinking that we want to train our children to be people of Jannah. True or not? Yeah. That's why most of the education systems that we follow, even the Muslims, are not education systems. They are indoctrination systems that have been developed by people who have the materialistic philosophy in life.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother.
So if you don't...
Sorry?
We Thank you, brother. Now we go to the sisters. If you have any question, please proceed.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
When so much is prohibited in Islam, and most of the things that is music is so much loved by us monkeys, what else is left which is allowed in Islam that we could do?
Can we hear the question again? There was a lot of distortion.
When so much is prohibited in Islam, and most of the things that is music is so much loved by us monkeys, what else is left which is allowed in Islam that we could do?
You know what, sister? You know that I'm sorry to say, I'm not saying that I'm not applying this to you personally, yeah. But that sounds exactly the sort of thing Shaitan said to Adam and Hawa. Exactly the same sort of thing. And you must know, my brothers and sisters, this is exactly what Shaitan wants to say and how Shaitan wants you to think. How does Shaitan make you go astray from the deen of Islam? Through two things, shahwat and shubahat. Shahwat means your desires. Shubahat means doubts. Why does Allah stop us having so much fun? Why does Allah spoil our fun by not letting us have music? Why does Allah not let us have boyfriends and girlfriends and free love and, it's so much fun? Yeah? Why does Allah not let us gamble and drink and take drugs and enjoy ourselves? Allah just wants us to stop enjoying our life. This is exactly what Shaitan wants to put into your head. This is exactly what he put into the head of Adam and Hawa when they were in Jannah. Even though Allah warned Adam and Hawa against Iblis, just as Allah has warned us against the ways of thinking of those people who are not Muslim. He's an enemy to you. Allah warned Adam and Hawa. He wants to take you with him to the hellfire. Allah warned Adam and Hawa. But Iblis came, and what did he say? He said, I'm your friend. I'm your advisor. I only want good for you. The same thing. That's what we hear. Oh, we only want good for you. We only want you to improve, you Muslims, economically, politically, scientifically. We want you to improve, better yourselves. And look how sophisticated and advanced we are. You should follow us. You see, you want to improve like us, you need to follow us. That's what they say. Shaitan. And then you know what he says? Shaitan says, Wallahi. Shaitan himself takes an oath by Allah. He swears by Allah. He says, Allah doesn't want you to eat from this tree. Do you know why? Allah doesn't want you to eat from this tree? Because Allah doesn't want you to be like angels and such beings that live forever. And Allah doesn't want you to eat from this tree because He wants to keep you away from a kingdom that will never decline. That's putting doubts in the head of Adam and Hawa. Allah wants us to keep away from those things. Allah doesn't want us to be like angels. Allah wants us to keep away from, Allah, you see, the same thing. Allah wants to spoil things for us. Allah is keeping us away from things that we will enjoy. It's the same type of thinking that Shaitan puts. Allah does not make music haram to stop you enjoying your life. Allah made music haram because music will stop you enjoying your life. Because music will destroy you. It will destroy your families. It will destroy your communities. It will make you live in a world of fantasy and escapism. And it will make you begin to behave like an idiot. That's why Allah prohibited it. That's the reason. Because what gives happiness and peace to the heart is knowing Allah, remembering Allah, reading the Quran, studying the deen. If you do those things, believe me, you will only find that music is like a drill in your head. It's like pain, distracting you from what is the true pleasure. So only a person who does not know the sweetness of Iman, the sweetness of knowing Allah and remembering Allah, would think such a thing and say such a thing. This is where is joy, this is where is bliss. In knowing Allah and remembering Allah and following His guidance. But how would you know that if you don't take that path? If you don't spend your time and your effort and your energy to read the Quran, to study, to think, to remember Allah, to contemplate deeply. So these are the things we have to do, my brothers and sisters. Don't be confused. Allah did not make something haram to keep you away from something good. If it is haram, it's because that thing is bad for you. That thing will have harm in your life. Allah didn't make it. Do you think, and Bilal said this yesterday, does Allah say pray because He needs you to worship Him? Does Allah need you not to listen to music? Do you think Allah needs that? Of course He doesn't need it. Does Allah need your fasting? He doesn't need it. Does Allah need your hajj? He doesn't need it. Does Allah need you to follow His laws? Allah does not need it. Allah gave you these things for you, for me, for us, for our benefits. If we follow Allah's guidance, we will see the benefit of that in our life. If we go away from Allah's guidance, you will see the benefit you will see the harm in your life. So if Allah has made something haram, when Allah said that music, when the Prophet ﷺ warned us, and he said that there will become some people who will make music halal. They will make it halal. That means it's haram. How can they make it halal if it's not haram? It's in Sahih al-Bukhari. In Sahih al-Bukhari, there will come a time and there will be people who will make music halal. Subhanallah. That's one of the signs of the last day. One of the signs that the end of the time is coming. When the people start making the music halal. So this is something, my brothers and sisters, that we should keep away from. Rather, fill your life with knowing Allah, remembering Allah, studying His deen. That is what is good for you, and that is what will make you truly successful. Thank you, sister, for your question. Jazakallah khair.
I think we come to the brothers now. Before you start your question, please mention your name and the profession.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ali Said. I'm a student. Some people argue that addiction is a disease. Can we say
Do you say that addiction is a disease?
Sorry, addiction?
Yes. Some people argue that addiction is a disease. Can we say
Addiction.
that addiction?
I think what you mean is that people have addictive personalities, and it's a genetic thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No,
Is that what you mean? I think that's what you're saying, and it's true. Okay, all of us have a predisposition to certain things, but you know what? They call it an addictive personality, yeah? But the addictive personality does not mean necessarily that you will be addicted to hashish or to heroin. You could also be addicted to salah. You could also be addicted to seeking knowledge. It just means that you tend to be very focused on one type of thing. An addictive personality is someone who they focus very much on one thing and they get caught up in it. So actually, that personality can actually, if the person is directed in the right direction, be a positive thing. Yeah? It can be a positive thing. I don't think necessarily that people are, how can you say? They are naturally addicted to drugs. I don't think so. But even if it was true, we would say that life is a test. Everyone has a different test in life. We have different tests. Allah does not put on people something, a burden more than what they can bear. If Allah prohibited us from taking drugs, and if it was true that it's a type of, genetic thing, even then, Allah would not tell us to leave something that is that is beyond our ability. Meaning we have still control. We shouldn't imagine that we are just slaves to our genes. No. We have intellect. We have the ability to think. We live in societies where we can support and help each other to keep away from those evil things. Yeah? So I don't know of the details, really, is it a disease or not? But certainly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the means to keep away from all those things that are haram. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us alternative things, alhamdulillah, to help us and enhance our life and fulfill our potential. Jazakallah khair for your question, brother.
Okay, now we go to the sisters. If you have any questions, please mention your name and your profession before you start the question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Me again. This is a question by a student.
Okay.
Sometimes we are forced to sing in the school assembly and punished if we do not sing. However, the song contains music in it. If music is haram, please advise our head of the schools and what should I do to avoid from this music?
Okay. There is a simple saying, a simple rule. There is no obedience to the creation in disobedience to Allah. That's it. Anyway, it would seem to me that, I'm not going to go into interpreting the constitution of the Maldives, but I think your constitution says that your laws are supposed to be based on the Quran and Sunnah. Yes or no?
It is.
Okay, then if a school is forcing you to sing with the accompaniment of musical instruments, then that is unconstitutional. That is against the constitution. Because there are many evidences from the Sahaba and directly from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I mentioned one of them in Sahih al-Bukhari, very clear hadith. And also, in fact, if you look into the Shafi madhab, which is the main madhab, isn't it, of the Maldives, Imam Shafi, he has one of the most strict opinions, by the way. He does not even allow singing. In fact, he said in one of his statements, he said that if you find a man singing a lot, he is an imbecilic fool who is not allowed to testify in court. You can check it. You can check it in the books of the Shafi madhab. What is the opinion of Imam al-Shafi on singing? This is even without the musical instruments. So I would say that you should stand up for what is right and you should refuse to sing. If you get punished, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you and Allah will deal with those people who are punishing you unjustly. This is how we have to stand up for the deen. Because you know what, my brothers and sisters, I want to remind you of someone. His name was Bilal ibn Rabah. He was a slave. And he was a slave to Abu Jahl, one of the worst enemies of Islam. And they were trying to force Bilal to worship idols. And he refused. You know what they did with him? They took him out onto the hot sands. They tied him down and they put burning hot coals on his back so he could smell his own fat cooking. And they would get him and try to force him to worship Al-Lat and Al-Uzza. And what would he say? Ahadun, ahadun. So brothers and sisters, as much as you can, you should try to stand up for what is right. You should try to do what is right and keep away from what is evil. But I don't think that anybody should have to put up with that type of treatment. Even in England, which is a non-Muslim country, if I say to the school, I don't want my children participating in this because it's against my religion, they will respect it. That's in England. That's in England. SubhanAllah. So how about our country? How about our lands? You know? So thank you very much, sister. May Allah give you and all of you strength to stand up for what is right in the best way. Alhamdulillah. So, inshallah, jazakallah khair for that question.
It's a little past the time for us to end the session, but we'll take one more question from the brothers. And let this be the last question we take for the night.
Wa alaikum assalam.
No. Nowadays, many amongst the Muslims get deviated while trying to identify who true scholars are. How can we identify the true scholars of Islam? And one more question, please.
One question, please. Just one.
The audience would like to know more about you. I mean, you converting to Islam.
Okay. As for the second question, inshallah, maybe we'll leave that for another time, how I became Muslim. But anyway, it's very easy to find the story of how I became Muslim on the internet. On YouTube, you can find it easily, inshallah. As for the first question, what was the first question?
Many of the Muslims.
I'm so hot, I think my brain has melted like the rest of me. You know?
Yes. How do you identify the real scholars?
Yes. Yes. You know, my brothers and sisters, I have a simple piece of advice. You see, our deen, our way of living, our way of life, this way of living and being and thinking and breathing, even Islam. This religion was revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah gave to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam a book, the Quran. But Allah also gave the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam guidance along with the Quran that explained the Quran, and that is what we call the Sunnah. So the revelation, the guidance from Allah is the Quran, and the Sunnah, the example and the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But I would like to say that there is another important point of reference that we need to apply. And that is the understanding of those people who lived with and worked with and played with and fought with and prayed with and made hajj with and fasted with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And that is his companions. That is his companions. If we read the Quran in a language we can understand, or even better, if we study Arabic, and we read the authentic hadith, it's not difficult. Even if you find it so much to read Sahih Bukhari, you can get a shortened version. You could read a collection of book hadith, something like Riyad al-Salihin. very excellent. Nearly all of the hadith in there are from Bukhari and Muslim. And you could read Sahih Muslim. I say that because these are books that all the people who believe in the Quran and Sunnah agree that these are the most authentic texts in the religion. And then after that, some of the books, they have weak hadith and not weak, it's a bit of a mixture. But this, we all agree. If you read those and study those, and remembering, of course, there are other hadith as well, but you will begin to get a flavor, you will begin to get an idea of what Allah says, what the Prophet ﷺ said, what is authentically preserved of this deen. Then you will be able yourself to see and understand which scholar is bringing the verses of the Quran explained by the actions of the Prophet ﷺ in a way that was understood by the Sahaba. And those are the true scholars. The true scholars are the ones who access the book and the Sunnah and the understanding of the companions, and that's the basis upon which they understand the religion of Islam. So, it's better for me to say that than give you a list. Oh, you should listen to A, B, C, D. Well, it may be that A, B, C, D, it's possible that they may change, or they may say something that is not from the Quran and the Sunnah and the understanding of the companions. By the way, I am not saying that we have the right to read the Quran, read some hadith, and then we start making fatwa. No, that is also very dangerous. And be careful of people who do that. Be careful of people who read the Quran, read the hadith, and they just start making fatwa without referring to scholarship. Scholars are very important in our religion. We should respect them. And we should respect difference of opinion that is valid. And valid difference of opinion means when there is an opinion there is a difference of opinion within the framework of what I have mentioned, the Quran, the Sunnah, and the understanding of the companions. Yeah? So if we know that and we understand that, alhamdulillah, we'll be on the right track to follow our deen in the right way. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide all of us to be true Muslims, to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to worship Allah, and to make us all people of Jannah. Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Wa jazakallah khair. Wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, brother.